Part 10. Work by Day and Study by Night. It was extremely difficult for me to study for my own development while working at the company. Unlike public corporations and banks, most of the employees of private companies had to concentrate on their works. The industrial company didn't even allow its employees to attend evening college because it would interfere with their work. I entered the Korea National Open University and studied for about 3 months. After a few months at work, feeling the need for a scholarship, a few friends boldly quit the job and chose to take a college entrance exam. I wanted to follow them, but I couldn't. Since I could not give up my dream, I decided to study for the evening college exam after work. I enrolled in 2 classes at the Institute for College Entrance Test Preparation in the back alley of the YMCA Jungno. Most of the institutes for the college entrance were crowded in Jungno. There were EMI, Sangatap, Jail, Daesung Institute, etc. I couldn't study for the comprehensive class because I was off work at 8 in the evening. I had 3 siblings, so it was hard to have a dream of the future just for me. It was the best choice for me to study in the evening while working at the company during the day. The industrial company was emerging as a new conglomerate. The company hired a large number of employees, and they were mostly graduates from Seoul National University, Yonsei University, and Korea University. Most of the employees who graduated from the high school worked in accounting or management department. After graduating from college and joining the company, the man was about 27 years old, and the high school graduate was 20 years old. There was a huge difference in salary. The difference between a college graduate and a high school graduate seemed like the difference between heaven and earth. At that time, I realized that each person had a level. One day, I met my friend in the evening and had a drink at a street stall to talk about our future. A few days later, I registered with my friend in a private reading room. After work, I took a lecture at the institute in Jungno and went to the reading room. I worked at the company all day starting from 8 a.m. It was 11 p.m. when I arrived at the reading room after taking classes in Jungno. When I saw the students sitting at a desk in a cubicle in the reading room, my fist was clenched. Here's my future. I piled up the university entrance reference books on the desk. I'll do all the other subjects on my own, but math was the problem. I could not solve the problems easily with the capacity I had learned at the commercial school. There was a curfew, so when I was sitting in the reading room, it was already past midnight, and the reading room manager would pull down the front door shutter. When the curfew was released at 4 a.m., the manager opened the shutter again. I often laid down in the reading room, dozing off for a while. Then I went home at dawn, changed my clothes, and went to work. I was tired, and I often had a nosebleed when I washed my face in the morning. I deserved to live like this for my dream. A year after graduating from high school, I took a preliminary exam for college entrance. Since a preliminary exam was a test to select twice the number of students admitted to universities by region, those who passed the preliminary exam could go to the evening college. In Seoul, there were 4 universities, as commerce colleges: Sungkyunkwan, Konkuk, Kyungji, and Kukje University. There also was Hongyoung University in Seoul and Inha University in Incheon as engineering colleges. After work, I even went to the Inha University by taking the railway. However, I did not have the money to pay for the tuition that was actually required for admission. After much thought, I decided to postpone the date of entering the university. I had to go to the army the year after next. I thought that if I only got accepted into college before I joined the army and went to college after I was discharged, it would be a good choice. I would not be bothered by my brother's tuition, and it also would be easy for me to go to college after work in the evening. Yet I could not get rid of the sense of defeat that permeated my mind. There were a lot of friends who couldn't go to college, but I envied the ones I met who became college students. I especially envied my friends who went to the Korea Military Academy that I wanted to go to. The cadets' costumes, especially the angular emblem on the shoulders, were particularly noticeable. The friend who entered Seoul National University seemed to live in a different world than me. The friend who entered Korea University could not be as friendly as he used to be. When I was a middle school student, I even got angry at myself if I missed the first prize. I felt very distressed about my own humble situation, comparing myself to them. The new year came again. I was so busy at work that I could not study as planned. I began to get tired. I went into a drinking house selling makgeolli, Korean raw rice wine, with a friend to refresh myself. In the drinking house, they laid white paper on the table, prepared various Korean dishes, and sold alcohol. In addition, barmaids in Korean traditional clothes sat at the wine table, beat on chopsticks rhythmically, sang together, and poured wine into the glass. We got rid of our stress by singing the old songs with a few drinks of wine. Sometimes I went to the Chorus Cafe in front of Seoul City Hall with my friends. It was a music cafe where all the young people in the room sang positive and heartful songs together. I comforted my frustration by enjoying music like that. I decided to learn a musical instrument to soothe my bitter feelings. I called the Music Institute in Jongno, but I found that the cost of saxophone lessons were higher than expected. I changed my mind and enrolled in a guitar institute. There, I learned how to play the guitar and played songs like The Impatience Under the Fence and Under the Bridge of Paris on the guitar. Both songs are waltz songs. To beginners, they taught slow tempo songs like this. Every time I played the guitar there, I felt sad as if I had become a shabby impatience, a type of flower under the fence. When spring came, I prepared for the entrance exam again. I decided to change course and apply for the Air Force Academy. If I entered the academy, I could study at the expense of the government. I thought it would be meaningful for me to be a pilot, fly in the sky, and protect our country. I told my dream to my boss, Assistant Section Chief Kim. All right, but even if you're an Air Force officer, the world doesn't change. His words scattered my dreams like grains of sand. In fact, I wasn't even good enough to pass the exam. I was not prepared for Math 2 or physics in the exam, but I decided to take the exam, recalling the wise saying, "Where there is a will, there is a way." I only had vague expectations that if I was determined to devote myself to the country, heaven would open a way for me. The entrance exam to the Air Force Academy was before the preliminary exam for the college entrance. I left the office early on the day of the exam, greeted my boss Kim with my eyes, then took a taxi and ran to Daebang, Dong, Seoul. I failed the exam, but I felt bitter I kept getting squeezed out of the world. They say, the world is up to you, but they must have been reckless. It seemed to me that the road would not open. On that evening, I went back home after drinking. I fell down in the main room instead of my room and cried loudly. I wanted anyone to comfort me, but my mother didn't ask why I cried. I think my mother thought I was crying because my work was hard. I took out the foreign cigarette Marlboro I got from work and smoked that strong cigarette before I fell asleep every evening for a while.